All right, this is Ron Rogers, and this is my Great Lakes. And those of you who have been following this drama know that just got it out of annual. So this is the first flight after annual, the test flight, and it's a nice day. A little hazy here out at Lake in the Hills. It's about 3 miles in smoke, they're saying. Maybe, well, here it's a little bit better. To the west, it goes down. But basically, now I've done a lot of this stuff. I had a head cam that I was going to use, so I had two free hands, but I couldn't find that for some reason. I got so much stuff. That's the nice word. It's around here somewhere, but so I have to hold it. So I have one hand that's not free. But I already did okay, up there at the top. I just got it fueled, so I checked that the cap is secure. And I also was down on my hands and knees underneath. That's kind of not too graceful, but that's already been done. I've checked it because after you get done with an annual, you need to do a thorough pre-flight. And of course, the thing that was slowing it up was this whole thing with the hinges here, where that's not as tight as it should be. Now, I've had an issue with this airplane, and I don't know how it got out of production flight test with the ailerons as stiff as they were, because I complained right from the start. I said, these things are way too stiff. Well, they had some of the bushings too tight. When it got up to Oshkosh, I had it on display at Oshkosh shortly after it was completed in 2022. It's a old new airplane, serial number 1221. It was completed, and it was on display up at Oshkosh. Really cool. And I had the last two annuals done at the factory at Waco there. So this is my first annual done outside of the factory. And of course, whenever somebody new looks at an airplane, they look at it with different eyes. And that's where the whole thing of the little bit of slop came into. And there's another aircraft in distance. You can see it. I think they just got out of annual too. Or maybe not. They're ATP. That's the school thing. They were by Finefield, so that's what I thought. But anyway, they finally got a call back from Waco. They're kind of hard to get a hold of at times, and they separated it out. Centennial does the maintenance. Waco builds it. You know, it's all these house of cards and stuff. The way companies keep these little vertical shafts. So if somebody sues one, you know, it's all lawyer stuff. But anyway. The airplane coming out of annual, of course, we can start here at the nose, good as place. Anyway, you know, this nice MT prop. That is just a beautiful prop. That thing is lightweight, and does that ever spin up? And of course, they clean the filter. Flying up on grass strips, you get a lot of crap in there, and a lot of crap on the landing gear and stuff from the grass. But that's all nicely cleaned up, and they got everything back attached here. And I changed the oil just last month, so didn't need an oil change. And I checked it, and I write it down at the start. It was six and a quarter. I got a little messed up there bringing it up the second time. But here's the a little noisy. Here's the non-environmental. You know, the thing takes a little piss on the ramp there. Not a good thing nowadays anymore. But you check that fuel sump, and as far as I can see, everything is good. Of course, I had a good look at the airplane when it was in the shop. And there's a couple of other sumps too here. This is kind of one of the lower ones. So we checked that. That looks good. No water in there. And okay, so let's go back to the start here. We got these nice struts that forgive a lot of landings. And of course, the bottom of the engine here, the cowl, want to make sure they got every single one of the fasteners back in. And it looks like they did so far. Okay. And there's a lot, of course. These wheel fairings are nice, but you can't really inspect the wheel very much. Here's one of my camera mounts I've used in the past. I like these witness marks up here they put on at the factory. So you can tell if these little suckers come loose. And of course, you check for essentially the tone that you can hear the tension. It's like a stringed instrument. And of course, you check the leading edges, being a typical. It's got an aluminum leading edge, so they didn't get that terribly clean there, did they? They got the aluminum leading edge, so it can take dings just like anything else. Of course, the fabric, first fabric airplane I've owned, so I don't expect to have any problems for a good many decades, probably long after I am concerned about it at all. It'll be my son's problem, but here, other witness marks, and checking everything secure, and want to check. I had a guy who Now they didn't touch anything like this, but he rebuilt an airplane and wired the ailerons backwards, and unfortunately that was his last takeoff. But anyway, and I've checked the bottom of the wing previously down my hands and knees. It's not quite so graceful, so I don't like to video that. I'll come back to the cockpit in just a minute here. Here's where I mount my camera for the forward view, which seems to be the nicest view. And of course, like I said before, you bounce that to check for anything loose in there, but that didn't get rid of the problem of having the crotch strap. That yeah, I wasn't too happy about that. I gave it to Waco, was the last I saw it, and suddenly it ends up back in that area. They had to buy me a new one because they couldn't find it. Well, guess what? I found it. But anyway, okay, here we are back. Same thing with these bracing wires, the tail, and yeah, these guys. All this stuff is nice and new, so that's good. Nice and new springs. I've had, on my early aerobatics school, I had a serial number 40 decathlon, no, serial number 40 Citabra that was, oh, it was well worn. I'm flying aerobatics in it, and finally the guy who owned it, wasn't my airplane, I leased it from a guy. Finally he says, checking cotter pins, finally he said, this airplane is just kind of sick. So he ended up buying a decathlon for me, which was a much nicer airplane. But if you can fly aerobatics in a Citabra, even a decathlon, you can fly aerobatics, because it's not as easy. And all right, everything looking good so far. It's not as complicated as my 310, so there's not as much to really look at, as it were. And the ailerons, and they got side lateral bushings. That was part of the confusion. They thought somehow that bushing had disappeared, which doesn't make a whole heck of a lot of sense. But anyway, I'm going to take it up and run through, you know, normal flight maneuvers, patterns. Oh, here's the pitot tube. This is the pitot, and that's the static source there. And these guys over here. And it's a nice day, so the pattern is getting busy. So all this looks good. Everything looks to be nice and tight. And, oh boy, look at that little cracking on that grommet there. It's only 3 years old and I'm getting cracking. Oh well. So, another thing, come around here. Okay, we're just having a fun time with this, aren't we? Okay, we come around here. Going to step up on the, right there. You step on the black part. You don't step on the other part, but this is so long ago that they didn't even put no step on it, because they figured back then people knew better than to step on places on fabric airplanes, so they didn't have to do the dummy act. Okay, now, this is the front cockpit, and it's got the lap belt, and I've secured that, tied it up with bungee cords, and basically, you look to make sure that it's good, and I'll put this cover on here in just a moment. And the aft cockpit I'll get set up here too. So that pretty much does it. I had the thing topped off, so I know I got full fuel, and I'll check that just as soon as I get in there. But that should take care of it. And I've got my little snowblower airplane mover here, and I'll put it out, and we'll go do some flying. So that is the post-annual pre-flight. Which, like I said, on this airplane, it's fairly simple. There's not much to it. So hopefully I didn't miss anything like the wing attach bolts that I can't see anyway. But hopefully that's all been checked. So we're ready to go fly.